All right. So I'm not sure what's going on with my stuff today. So again, thank you for the show. Thank you for being here. Today is July 3rd, 2021. Again, this is Keeping It Real Conversations with Sunshine. I believe in 6 degrees of separation. You're one person away, one advice away, one help away of where you need to be in your destiny. I also let you know how I know the person that is on the show. Today, I have my high schoolmate.
Yeah.
We discussed earlier that it has literally been 25 years.
Yeah.
I want to say June 16th. I think that's when we graduated.
Yeah.
25 years since we graduated from Osborne High School. So today, welcome Nicole Massey.
Hey.
And I was telling her earlier today that she was one of the young ladies who I looked up to, wanted to be like,
Oh,
because she's always been beautiful. She's always been the one to stand out. She was a majorette, and I had a couple of classes with her. And I was telling before, the year we went into high school was the year they had an influx of intelligent beings.
mm-hmm.
They tried to turn Osborne High School, well, it was a proposal to turn Osborne into a magnet school like Cass King and all of that stuff. So we were the guinea pigs. Our
Yeah.
classes were. And so they wanted us all to stay together the whole 4 years. And so I had a lot of classes with her. And so, like I said, she was one that was soft spoken, but you knew not to mess with her.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad that we were able to um, see some of these things on Facebook to be able to connect with one another. And so I seen an article that she had posted, and I said, "Wait a minute, what is this that I'm reading?" I need to reach out to her to be able to give her a chance to have this platform to be able to talk about what's going on or what has been going on with her. And so, Nicole,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, I'm here. I'm so happy to be here, and I'm happy you inbox me. As we spoke earlier, a lot of times people can be going through something, but they don't have that platform or that opportunity to express themselves, so they don't get the help, or they continue to suffer in silence like I've been currently doing. The article you're referring to, was that the Detroit News article or the
yes,
Post? Okay. So the article that was published, I think the lady's name was Orlando Williams.
mm-hmm.
Um, I have been going, I'm a domestic violence survivor, and I also advocate for children and adults, women, men, against domestic violence, I'm going to say domestic abuse, because it's so much broader than just the physical.
Mm-hmm.
So I started an organization called Motherhood Matters. And I partnered with the school that I work at, because I'm a school teacher working education. And I partnered with Detroit Service Learning Academy, and we had a child abuse awareness rally. And
Okay.
at the rally, the goal was to just provide people with resources, an avenue for women or men or children to come and get some help.
Mm-hmm.
So it was our first time doing it. So it was like the pilot rally, but I felt obligated to do it, not just as a survivor, but as a mother whose child went through a lot of trauma. And just working in school, I see it every day, but it's something different, and it touches your heart even more when it's your own child.
Mm-hmm.
So I partnered with the Guidance Center, Kids Talk, the Wellness Center. It was during COVID, so that was the challenging part, because a lot of people were skeptical about coming out, but it was a huge support. The Detroit Police Department was there. And actually the head of the child abuse unit, he spoke and provided people with resources and just letting people know that you do have support in the community.
So with that being said, as a woman, what are some things or maybe some telltale signs that you might be dealing with somebody that's abusive?
For me, and just as women, we see it. We see those red flags and we want to love that person so bad. We want to see them in a different way. We hope they may change. For me, I had just experienced the death of my mom in 2008. And then my dad died right in 2013. And I was 9 months pregnant when my dad died. So the abuse started off, usually it starts off with just the mental abuse. And we take it, like, okay, we're going to see how this works. Calling you out your name. A lot of it is degrading, like making you feel like you're less of a person. So for example, I've been told, you'll never amount to anything. You'll never find anybody to love you. And because I was going through that grief-stricken time with my parents, I yearned for that love, that acceptance from someone. So I thought it was okay. But those are usually the first signs, the mental abuse. I also find that people will antagonize you. They will learn all of your weaknesses, which my weakness at the time was dealing with my parents' death, and they'll take that and they'll use it against you. Also, they'll start to isolate you. Me growing up on the East Side, born and raised, I was not familiar with the West Side. So this person isolated me. Oh, you don't know how to get there. Or, oh, you're not going to know how to go there when, hello, we got GPS. It'll tell you directly where to go. But isolation from your family, from your friends, that was a lot of experiencing. Even is down to hiding certain things or just doing things to make you think you're crazy.
And right.
Leave it like, where did I put my lipstick? And just simple as that, you didn't have no lipstick there. So you start to, it's kind of like, it's a mind game in the beginning. It's mental. And you just have to have that thick skin to see through it. But women, we see the signs. We just sometimes avoid them and accept them.
So being with and we all know that there's different forms of abuse. There's, like you said, the mental, is the physical, is the verbal abuse, all of these things. During this time, you experience physical as well, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So in that time of the first time something physically happened, did you blank out where, okay, well, maybe, under circumstance, I don't know if this person was a drinker or if this person was high at the time, and you just like rationalizing in your head, like, maybe this is going to be the one time. Or I have seen movies where, by the way, The Burning Bed was my favorite movie, okay? And so she did a lot of things because of her kids, or maybe I got to clean up better. Maybe I have to do this so I don't anger him. Was that your case as well?
Yes, a lot of times you'll do stuff. It's like walking on eggshells. Your total life becomes, you want to be careful. A lot of times I stayed in my room, took my shower, and then I was happy to go to work. But being around that person, they were not a drinker nor a smoker. I think that they just felt entitled that it was okay to do this to me. And even though I'm a victim, it was still my responsibility to say, this is not okay. And that the first time I was pregnant, and I think just arguing back and forth, just a simple disagreement would turn into a blow up. And I remember being pushed down the steps, and I was pregnant, and I would sit there and just cry. And again, I thought it was me. I thought it was my fault. And so it took one of my good friends, because she ended up having to take me to the hospital, and my arm wasn't broken, but I think the first time my arm was fractured. And we know the process when you go to the hospital, they ask you what happened to you.
Yes.
And because I was so concerned about returning home, is this person going to be mad at me? Are they going to do it again? I lied. And I told them, I just had hurt my arm, and my friend, she was very outspoken. I love her to this day. Donna, she said, that's not what happened to her. So sometimes we need those friends. And that's why women need that support, because if you can't be a voice for yourself, those friends become those voices, because I thought it was okay. The next time, these were things like the mental. I have a back porch in my house. And I remember just as simple, it was wintertime. I wasn't pregnant, but I had locked myself out of the main house. And I'm knocking on the door, and I know they could hear me, but it was like, as a punishment, they would not unlock the door. So I remember having to sleep, and this is in the heart of winter, on my back porch. And it was like a punishment. I felt like a caged in animal. And it was like, how your mom used to tell you, go to your room, you don't come out. The door was not unlocked for me until the next day. And I remember sleeping, freezing, no cover, no nothing, on my back porch in the heart of winter.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I'm even though, some things that it takes courage to be the one that breaks the chains, breaks the cycles, to be able to be in a place to tell your story. Because you said when you first came on that you have been suffering in silence.
Yes.
Both on reasons of legal wise, as well as maybe you felt like there wasn't any support for you because your parents were gone and you were the only child, correct?
No, I have an older sister. She lives in Georgia, though.
And so being here, and sometimes our the people who do this purposely, we see it, but then we be thinking, nah, maybe they just want us to be close to them, and it's just whatever goes on in our house is that's it. And we don't realize that we have literally isolated ourselves from people who really can help us when we decide to open our mouths. And I'm listening to this story, and sometimes we don't realize that abuse comes in all types of forms.
Yes.
Whether they're hitting you or they're belittling you with control. I've been there. I didn't realize that control
is abuse.
Is abuse. Even if you willingly give it up thinking this will better us as a whole, for you to, control this, control that, or in marriages, we think, let me just out of respect tell you where I'm going, and they say, no, you can't go. And you be like, wait, am I not grown? And they like, I just want you to be here. You missing out on family outings, gatherings. You're missing out on just being you. You're not an inside person. So your whole personality has changed.
Yes, it can alter your personality. And that's so true, because when I posted my story, that's one thing I do love about Osborne. We may not talk to each other every day, but we see each other, whether it's a like or, hey, you look good, we still keep in touch. And I think a lot of people were hurt and kind of disappointed, like, why you didn't tell us, And I think, like you said, I was just afraid because of legal reasons. and also to protect my children, because some of this abuse that I'm speaking of, it may not be on the same level, but I'm still enduring it now. So I think I got to a point where I just couldn't take it anymore, because it did. I was isolating myself. I was depressed. And it started to affect who I am, because I'm not, like you said, we were in high school, I was class spirited, but I shut down because I felt like I didn't have anyone, or either I felt like this person is correct. I can't do this and I can't do that. And then I had to look at myself as an individual, an educator working with young women, young children, period. I'm a model, and I'm a model for my own children. So I had to say, okay, chin up, come on, y'all, get some thick skin. You got to get through this. And with the help of God too, I pray and I pray and I pray. And God led me, like, okay, you got to start telling your story. I'm there to support you. But that's how women feel. And a lot of women, you could be sitting next to a person in church, in school, and they can look the outer appearance and be going through abuse, and you would never know it. I think another incident, I was at work, I was pregnant, and there was an altercation that morning. And because the person was so much bigger than me, I think that was a form of intimidation. And they would push me around, my little self, and I'm trying to fight you back. And just sometimes you get so weak to where you can't fight back anymore. And when I got to work, I had a breakdown, and I ended up passing out. And, everybody at work congregated around me. They ended up having to take me to the hospital. But my coworkers, a lot of them said, I knew. We knew. We just wanted you to tell us and say, hey, I need your support. So they knew. Sometimes people know and sometimes people don't.
Right. And I think sometimes because of society, where we're in a place in time where sometimes when you want to help, but then the person goes back, and the person that was helping is like, I'm putting myself at risk too, trying to help, or what I feel like can help you. And then we go back, and it's like, well, I can't keep helping you and you keep going back. Or I don't want people to feel like you're in their business. But sometimes it takes a person to be like, okay, enough is enough. I know, and I want you to live. Because I had girlfriends who didn't get a chance to live. They went back, and that was the last time. So we don't know all. I mean, did you know the triggers, or was it just?
I think at first I did know the trigger, because like I said, we see the red flags. But I think after a while, anything would just, you turned on the hot water, I wanted cold water, just any little thing. And then two, they start to just find things just to pick with you, or just to press your buttons. In court, the judge calls it antagonizing. And I even remember being followed around the house. I would try to get away or go in another room. I remember being followed around the house with a cell phone, recording me, trying to get me to go there, having my baby in one arm, and I'm being recorded. And it took for a judge to say, this is antagonizing. She has not done anything wrong. You see me physically in the video walking away. Because too, like I said, I have children here. So I didn't want to present the ideal to I'm raising Black sons that this is okay. So I just, any little thing.
So with your oldest son, did he like physically see like the abuse, hear the abuse and things of that nature?
Yes. And a lot of times, because he's much older, children want to defend their mom. And it even became kind of to the point where it was affecting my children. And so that's when I start, I got to get out of this. This is not okay. And my son did want to retaliate several times, because you see your mom going through this, crying, hiding, bruises or whatever may be the case. But just to physically hear your mom being called out of her name for no particular reason, it makes you angry. And it makes you, you want to do something. And that's just normal for any child, boy or girl.
Mm-hmm.
And I can even remember at work getting phone calls or crying at my desk. My students would even, Miss Massey, what's wrong? What's up? I worked in a high school, so they ready to go. What's going on? So it affects the people around you as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Now, it is now abuse is not okay on no level. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the abuser does not look, or as we would deem as a person that would be an abuser.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
No.
know what an abuser looks like, but you
Mm-hmm.
would think that, who I chose or whatever. I didn't see this. I didn't,
Mm-hmm.
they hit it. And a lot of times, sometimes things come out later that, oh, they were abused. So they, the victim turned around and been the one that actually did it. Was that the case with him?
Not to my knowledge, not physically abused, but they did experience some things in their family that could have led to this anger, this treatment where you prey upon people.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I looked at it. Some people, if they're not happy, they don't want you to be happy, or they find these victims. Usually, to me, what I've experienced is, like I said, when you're going through a difficult time or a vulnerable time, they can seek out these victims and know, hey, she's going through a difficult time, and they'll prey on that.
Mm-hmm.
But no, they were not. A lot of times it could be the most slickest, most handsomest person that you just would not believe that this person would do this to me and think
Mm-hmm.
that it was okay.
Exactly. I'm thinking to myself in my head, when we were in high school, I was always the person that was helping the underdog. Always. I can
Mm-hmm.
hold my own. And just the thing in my head, I'm still thinking this right now. Like, who would mess with her? Like, she's the person that would come and check on you. I remember sometimes I used to have my head down in class, and you would come by me and like, you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm just taking a nap or whatever. Make sure everybody is okay, even though um things haven't changed. Even
Mm-hmm.
though this happened to you, I'm sitting here in my spirit like, I want to find out who the person is, because you're not gonna mess with my friend. And like I said, I had to have you on here because there are so many people who are suffering and don't even realize they're suffering, for
Mm-hmm.
one. And then two, they don't know how to get out. So how did you get out?
Well, it's funny. The person ended up leaving, and we ended up parting ways. And people always ask me these questions because, like I said, I'm still enduring some of what I call domestic abuse. It may not be in the same form of physical, but they left. And it was a blessing to me. A lot of people look for me to be sad, bitter, upset, but I believe in God, and I believe He works in the divine order. Things happen for a reason. And like I said, I just feel blessed because my children also don't have to endure living under that hammer, living in this confine. It's like when you're going through it, it's like a military. You got to stand up straight, do this right, do this. And we just were not happy. And for me, I'm normally a happy person. I like to be around people. That's not who I am. So when the person left, I actually felt better with life. I felt better. I went back to Nicole. And what I always tell women is you can't be afraid, because a lot of times that abuser will put you in a situation where you can't leave, whether it's financially. For a while, one of the reasons I didn't leave because I was a stay-at-home mom. So I didn't have an income. I didn't have anywhere to go. I'm pretty sure if I would have shared, people would have supported. But in my mind, I have nowhere to go. So they put you in this position, and you just have to be strong enough to get out there, tell a friend, tell somebody. There's so many organizations that support women in situations like this. We're just afraid to take the help. When I was doing that rally, I came across so many organizations and people who want to help. They are out there. You just have to let people know that you need help, and you have to get out. Because like you said, knowing people that couldn't get out and they're gone. So it's either save your life, save your children's life, and you got to get out of it, because it's not love. That's not love.
Mm-hmm. So, I'm a very big advocate on once we know something, we turn around and tell someone else. Especially with younger women who might not have father figures, who might not have a mother figure, and they think that this is love. Of, as they say, you might be looking for attention or whatever from the wrong person, the wrong way. What would you say to her? And nowadays it's happening to guys too. So it's
Yeah.
not just, the women that's going through abuse, but the guys are going through it too. So what would you say to them?
I've encountered this on a daily basis. Like I said, just when I used to work in high schools, you see it more often, but even working in middle school, I've seen it. And I just tell the girls, there's another way. First and foremost, I'm very transparent. So sometimes when you share with younger people your story, they respect it more, because they're like, wow, she went through what I'm going through. So I share my story. I try to share the resources with them. I've even opened up my home. I've had girls from my school or wherever in the neighborhood where they were facing these type of issues. I've opened up my home and tried to connect them with people. And I let them know you can do this. Because again, that's the mindset. They want you to feel like you don't have anybody, the isolation, you can't get out. And if you can just provide and let these girls know, or guys, that this is what you can do to help yourself, most of them usually listen. But just being able to have somebody walk them through it, because a lot of times when you're dealing with younger kids, they don't have the support at home. It's not a mom at home. It's not a dad at home. And grandma might be at home, but she's older. She doesn't know. So you have to be able to provide the resources and say, hey, here you go. This is how you do it. And this is how you get out. And that's what I let the younger people know, that you do not have to stay. You can make it on your own.
Right. And that is so true. And I'm not saying out of being married, and I didn't realize that some things that I stayed because I didn't want to hear people talking about me. Like I didn't try, I didn't, and I'm like, you have no idea.
Yes.
And he didn't physically abuse me, but there was a lot of mental control. And a lot of it I gave up, thinking because situations happen that, oh, I want you to feel like a man. Because I've always been a worker. I've always been able to, establish myself or whatever the case may be. But I thought that I would allow you to do certain things so you could feel some type of way. And it became basically a jail cell. And I didn't even realize, and there goes the weight. I didn't know that I was that oppressed and depressed. And so people be looking like, but you was an athlete. You used to do this and you do that. And how did you get here? And the answer sometimes was, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And it took God, it took certain people to be like, no, you need to. But I didn't ask for the divorce. He did. And when he did, like you said, I was happy.
Mm-hmm.
This was my way out. You think I'm about to sit here and cry? No. I'm about to try to figure out how to get back to Camila.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then when I found out about Camila, I
Mm-hmm.
haven't stopped smiling yet.
Yes.
And so now it's like, okay, abuse, if you don't hear anything else that we're saying, abuse comes in all types of forms. It
Yes.
doesn't have a face like we think that the abuser looks like the devil himself. No, they look like what we want them to look like.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, they wouldn't be talking to us. They wouldn't be with us if they
Yes.
didn't appeal to us. And so I'm excited for you to be able to still work on your freedom, your total freedom.
Yes.
I'm glad that you got out.
Yes.
However, the Lord made the way. We're still happy that it happened.
Yes.
I'm excited that my friend of 25 years
Yep.
is still here,
Amen.
still pushing, still got the torch in her hand, because again, you are the face right now, in my eyes right now, of being able to tell your story and to talk up for your children. A lot of, like I said, a lot of people get stuck in that place where I'm staying because of my children, because of support or whatever the case may be. And I gotta think, my children need a place to stay, my children need a place, things to eat and clothes and things of that nature. And as you can hear, Nicole has said there are plenty of programs out
Yes.
here that will help you get out. This is not the intent when it comes to love or someone to show love in this manner. No, it's
Yeah.
not.
No.
And so, have you actually started an organization of your own to actually do it, or you're just helping with other people?
I've actually started my own organization. We had the rally. It's called Motherhood Matters Every Day. And we're just getting up and started, but I started because just going to court, you see these women and men. And a lot of times, like we said, they just don't know the resources. They don't know how to file a motion. They're afraid to call the police. And so I started this organization to assist other women. It could be men too, but right now my main focus is women, because that's what I see, and I talk to other people I've been talking to. And there's so many organizations. It's so funny because we use social media to watch this and watch that. We want to watch the verses live, but we don't use the social media sometimes to network. And that's what I've been doing it. I spoke to a lady in London, and we were talking about, like we were saying, there's different forms of abuse. And we were talking about technology abuse, being stalked on the internet, being sent text messages. Well, in London, that's a crime. So the purpose of my organization, I not only want to assist women, but I want to start trying to put laws in place, trying to put bills in place, because one thing I found just doing my research, most states already have these laws in place, but in Michigan, we do not. So that's the first work at hand. And we want to just keep spreading awareness and working and partnering and providing, a tool for people to be able to have a go-to. And there's other organizations around the community. Like I said, you just have to look, you have to. And I can send you some of those organizations when we get through, that there are shelters, there are places that women can go.
That is really good. Like I said, sometimes we don't know that the tests and trials that we go through are not necessarily for you. It's
Mm-hmm.
for the people around you or behind you that you have not met yet. Um,
Yeah.
and like I said, I'm excited to be able to hear this, and whoever's watching. Like I said, some people took it personal that she explained that she was in silence and she didn't tell. because again, it's Nicole. It's somebody we would have came to her rescue. I know I would have for sure.
Yeah, a lot of people. It was so many people inboxing me. I mean, from the class of 94 on up, people I knew. One, I forget her first name. Her last name is Battle. I'm mad I forgot her name, but she was like, when the protest? She was like, I'm ready. I got my boots on. So that's another thing. You just have to be a voice. I remember people telling me, stop telling everybody your business. And I just don't believe in that, because when you speak up, you never know who's watching, who can help you, who can provide a resource. You just don't know. And you don't know who else you may inspire, who may be going through what you're doing. And that's another reason I also did the docu-series, which is coming soon, where I completely tell all. And I did it in that way because a lot of times the media or news doesn't want to cover this type of news, but they'll cover everything else. So I said, I'm going to tell my story myself.
That's good too, because my understanding, if I understand the Bible correctly, is a twofold to how you overcome, and that's by the blood of the Lamb and the words of their testimony.
Okay.
Nobody is gonna get help if you keep your mouth shut.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be honest and transparent in
Yes, ma'am.
all aspects of your life. Now, I can get excited about the book, the story, the ending. Yes, I could. But I get more excited when I can read the beginning part, the middle where all the juicy stuff is, the
Mm-hmm.
ups and downs, the twists and turns. And then I can really rally with you in the end because now I understand and I connect.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get mad at me when I'm just like, okay, that's good. What
Mm-hmm.
happened in the beginning? What happened in the middle?
Right.
So now that we have platforms like this or other platforms to be able to let people tell their story, the whole story. I tell people when you come on my show, it's like I don't tell you what I'm gonna ask you.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
want you to be transparent. I want you to be authentic. I don't want you to think about it. I just want you to let it go. Let it go. And
Yeah.
wherever it fall, it fall. And at that point, believe me, I will get inboxes all the time. I get comments all the time about this. Like, where have you been? Where have that person been? Because
Mm-hmm.
now I see if I'm looking at a beautiful person like Nicole Massey, then been through domestic violence and all of this stuff, and she's still looking how she looking, what?
Thank you. Yeah, it's possible. And that's too, we go back to, I think, and I don't even know what time we good?
Yeah, we good.
Okay. During COVID, I think that's the time that really inspired me, because you had no choice but to like find yourself again. And so, too, wanting to help my son and help myself, I think that was the most beautiful time where I sat down and I was like, I have to do something, but what could I do that's legal? Um, and I was even more inspired with all the Black Lives Matter. It was just a time like, if you don't use your voice during this time, what else could you do? And when you talk about abuse, with the Me Too movement was more women being harassed at work. But now in my situation, it's a person who is being abused by the court, people. And if these places or venues are put in place to support and help, and they're not helping, I found that to be a problem. So that gave me even more strength to be a voice for people, because if these organizations are put in place and they're supposed to help and provide justice for people and they're not, people need to know about that and they need to hear about it. I was telling my story. My aunt had a barbecue, and like you said, looking at the person on the outer, when I got up to tell my story, everybody's mouths were literally on the ground, like, huh? Oh my God. Because you just don't know what people are going through. And another thing, like you said, when people post stuff or they're promoting stuff, just share it. It takes a minute to just share it. And that could be a form of support if you don't want to get involved. Because during this whole, I've been going through this for 8 years. During those 8 years, I have lost some friends. Some people didn't believe me. So it's kind of hard. It's a learning experience. But yes, I've lost several friendships due to this experience.
Wow.
Yes.
On our Facebook, if I'm not mistaken, I shared the sign up for the petition.
Mm-hmm.
I did put it on my page, and I will put it on Instagram as well. I want you guys to support her. Not only I want you to look at, not because I know her, but because the fact that this could be your sister, this could be your auntie, this could be your grandma, this could be your son. I want you to realize and put yourself in her shoes. I'm not gonna cry, but it's personal to me because I do know her. And because the fact that even in my own life, I was dealing with this abuse and didn't call it abuse. I called it something else. And so we have to bind together. We have to take it and run. Sometimes you don't want to be the trailblazer, but somebody got to do it. Somebody has to do it. Somebody has to be the voice for those who are still in the dark. There were moments of thinking about suicide because you're not happy. You feel like you're stuck and you can't get out. You don't know what you're going to do. You don't know who you're going to be able to talk to. And so I understand completely. I understand completely. So I want y'all to be able to support her in getting the bill, getting whatever law that needs to be set in place for Michigan to help people like her children. Are you currently in counseling? Are your kids in counseling?
Yes. Yes. I more of grief counseling, but for this as well. Because just handling the death of my parents, like I said, that was very hard for me. Because I know if they were here, I would not be going through this. So I do go to counseling, and a lot of people don't want to, but just when you go to counseling, also one of the benefits is not just being able to talk to that third party, but that counselor can also provide you resources. And a lot of times when you get those resources through counseling, it's either free or you don't have to wait. It's like a referral process. And my counselor has also been my friend because she was in disbelief when she heard my story. And so she has literally sat on the phone with me during counseling time and giving me this resource. Okay, this is a resource. Call this number. This person will help you. So it's many benefits to therapy just besides talking to someone.
I'm glad you brought that up too.
Mm-hmm.
And when we could talk about therapy, there's also to be able to get these things out of your system so you don't make yourself sick,
Mm-hmm.
and that you don't do it to other people and don't even realize, because we're being taught and groomed a certain way, because when you go through that, you don't realize that sometimes you can flip it and become the person that you hate.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm so grateful. And I said I was not going to cry, but I feel it.
Yeah, I'm trying not to too. That's why I keep smiling. Yeah, and sometimes it's for me, I have my crying spells. God says to cry, but sometimes it's tears of joy because I'm not exactly where I want to be with this, and I'm still a work in progress, but I look back on what I overcame. And so sometimes it's just tears of joy, and I'm trying not to cry, because it's so much. And I know we only have an hour, but it's so much that I didn't tell. It's in the docuseries, just living my life, having to get security cameras, having to, where most people get an alarm on their house because you just want to feel safe. Well, I'm getting an alarm on my house because somebody keeps trying to come and harass me, follow me to work, come into I could just go on and on and on. And I look back on that, and like you said, I'm still standing from all of that, and still enduring some of it. So it's like sometimes you gotta just cry those tears of joy, pray, and just be thankful that you're still here to tell your story. That's how I look at it. Sometimes I have a saying that I stick to. I have to turn pain into power, because we can sit in, either you could be pitiful or you could be powerful. And for a while I was pitiful because I was depressed. I wasn't eating, keeping myself, like I said, feeling suicidal, or it's just, I don't want to be here anymore. I can't, I feel powerless. And then, like I said, during COVID, that transition, I said, I choose today to be powerful.
That's whew, Lord
I
mercy.
choose to be powerful. So yeah, it's hard, because even now I have to live my life a certain way because what happened to me, and it's not fair, it's not okay, but I just keep going, because we know the devil always wants you to give up. And I always think to myself, when I get up in the morning and I put my feet on the floor, I said, the devil probably like, dang, she up again. Yep, I'm up, and I'm still going. Yeah, that's how I try to look at it, to stay positive.
I know that this is going to be a blessing to somebody. I'm sure we're probably getting comments. I just can't see them. I'm sure that somebody's going to inbox you. I make sure that the people that we connect to gets it to where it needs to go to. Like I said, when I first started the show, I believe in 6 degrees of separation. It has been proven over and over again. You are one person away, one advice away, and one help away from where you need to be in your destiny. We didn't know that this story was going to be a part of our destiny, but at the end, we still win.
Yes, ma'am.
Believe me, we still win, because not only that, the tears we cried, the moments of feeling like we alone, the moments of where do I go from here? God already knew that. At the end, in those moments, we didn't know, we didn't feel like He was there, but He was always there. He'll always be there for us. And so now it's because you're opening your mouth and you're telling it, you're overcoming as well as everyone else that's going through this situation. Now they can understand and hear that abuse is real.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It comes in all shapes, sizes, and forms. And if you are in it, get out.
Yes.
Don't stay, don't visualize it, don't socialize it, don't in your head think it's okay, don't talk yourself out of it. I don't care if you have to do Morse code, SOS, I don't care. Get out.
There is a code I want to share with you. And it was on my Instagram, but it's a simple this. And I've literally had to do this before. You just hold up your hand and you put your thumb here. And that's a way of letting people know. And I'll send it to you. This lady shared it on TikTok, actually. It's a hand signal used. And also, if the palm is open, the black dot on your hand. And that just kind of lets people know without you verbalizing, if you're somewhere, if you're in a situation, like I've been somewhere and was being abused. And I was actually at a hospital, and I was scared to scream or say anything. So I simply did the hand movement. And because the nurses were aware of it, they knew to get me help.
Wow.
Yep. So those are just some signals if you're riding in a car, because abuse goes so far to the point you might have been kidnapped in a car, being held against your will. Those are some things that you could do, nonverbal signals that you could use.
No, I did not know that. Now,
Yeah.
on the like movies, people be trying to write a note or something. I had no idea that that is, you learn
Yeah.
something every day.
You can't get to a pen. You can't get somewhere. And we came across that the lady shared, and then I was going to a domestic violence support group, and the lady also shared. So it's the black dot or either this.
Wow. That is amazing to know. And like I said, I appreciate you being able to come on and tell your story, and no holds barred. That's the part that I love the most, to be able to have someone on here and tell everything, tell what needs to be told. So again, we will talk,
Okay.
or you can share everything with me. I will have you on again once the documentary hits,
Okay.
so we can have an exclusive with you. Um, and whatever else you need me to do, I am here for. I'm here for it all. Do you hear me?
We appreciate you. Thank you for having me. And just a reminder, when people share the petition is actually student led. My students created it. There's no donations needed. We just need the signatures. Because we found out with that organization, the money that's raised goes to that organization or that website. So we just need the signature.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll go back on once I'm done with this next interview. I will go
Okay.
back on and I will share the petition again. Of course, all those who are listening, please share the video. I will post it to I posted it on Facebook, but like I said, I have been having difficulties on, I don't know what's going on today. But however, the information will be out here, and the video will be shared. So again, thank you, Nicole, for sharing your story. Again, I will get back in touch with you again. Let me know when the documentary series will go out. I will have you on the show again, and
Okay.
we'll go from there.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Be safe. Love you much.
Love you too. All
All
right.
right.
Bye-bye.